Hello everyone and welcome to today's lesson. My name is Mr. Lim KH and today I'll be going through a P6 Science 2019 prelim paper from ACS. Let's start off with the MCQs. Question 1. Okay, study the flow chart below. So, living things, does it make its own food? Yes, no. Okay, does it reproduce by spores? Yes and no. Does it bear fruit? Yes and no. Okay, which of the following is most likely, represents A, B, C, and D? So we're gonna slowly check through the options. So A is something that does not make its food and does not reproduce by spores. Okay, so which means that fungus is probably, it is out, okay, because fungus reproduce by spores. Okay, and then the rest does not reproduce by spores. Okay, let's go to B. B is a living thing that does not make its own food and reproduce by spores. Okay, so reproduce by spores for B will be fern and fungus. Okay, and then reproduce by spores, animal and flowering plant are out. Okay, so at this point, we can tell that the answer is number 3. Okay, but I'm gonna continue on with C. Okay, does it make its own food? Yes. Does it bear fruit? No. Okay, no. Does it make its own food? Yes. Fern. Okay. Bacteria and animal does not bear fruit. Okay, so D will be something that makes its own food and bear fruit. Okay, makes its own food and bear fruit. Okay, only the last one is out, so option 3 is the correct answer. Okay, question 2. Which of the following diagrams shows the correct order of stages and processes in the life cycle of a flowering plant? Let's check number 1. Seed and fertilization. Fertilization is probably wrong. Okay, seed germination, okay. Pollination, okay, fertilization, yes. Usually pollination occurs during the adult plant. Okay, because the adult plant will produce flowers. But let's check the rest first. Okay, seed fertilization, so option 3 is definitely wrong. Seed germination, a young plant, adult plant, and fertilization is here. But okay, pollination is missing, and usually pollination should occur like after the adult plant stage, right? So I think, okay, for this question, I will go with option 4. Question 3. Okay, the diagram shows a flowers X, Y, and Z with some of their parts removed. So flower X, the whole, the stigma, ovary, they are all removed. Okay, flower Y, only the stigma is removed. Flower Z, the petals are removed. Okay, Charlie sprinkled some pollen grains from a similar flower over flowers X, Y, and Z. The flowers are observed for the formation of fruits. Okay, which flowers would most likely develop into a fruit? Okay, in this case, only flower Z will. Okay, flower X will not, because the stigma is not present, so pollination will not occur. Flower X definitely would not, because the ovary are not present. Okay, so for this question, the answer is number 2. Question 4. The diagrams show the reproductive systems of a human and a plant. Okay, which part, A, B, C, or D, in diagram 2 has a similar function as part X in diagram 1? Okay, part X is the testis, which produces the male reproductive cell. So in the diagram 2, B is the part that produces the male reproductive cell. Okay, B is the enter. And so the answer will be number 2. Question 5. The diagram shows the human digestive system. Okay, which of the following shows the parts where digestive juices are released? Okay, so we know that for part A, there is the saliva, right? Okay, for part B, there is the gastric juice, and then in the small intestine itself, there's also digestive juices being released into it. Okay, only D does not have. So the answer should be A, B, and C. Okay, which is number 3. Question 6. The diagram shows how some gardeners will attach wooden poles to a young plant when it is being planted into the ground. The poles are removed after a few weeks. Okay, based on the diagram, why does the young plant need to be attached to the wooden poles when it is being planted into the ground? Is it because it has a weak stem? Okay, probably. The roots are unable to anchor it firmly to the ground yet. No. The poles help transport more water to the leaves for photosynthesis. This is definitely not. If the stem needs a support to grow upwards to reach for more sunlight. Okay, in this case, the weak stem, the stem needs a support to grow upwards to reach out for more sunlight. Okay, the answer should be number 1, because when it is a young plant, it will have a weak stem and it will have a problem standing upright. But after a few weeks, once the stem is stronger, then you'll be able to stand upright on its own. Okay, it is not number 4 because if the stem needs support to grow upwards to reach for more sunlight, right? That means the wooden pole support cannot be removed. Okay, they need to be there forever. Okay, question 7. The diagram shows the different paths taken by food and water in a plant. A, B, C, and D. Okay, represents parts of the plant. Okay, so which of the following best represents A, B, C, and D? This path is a path that is taken by the food, so let me try and change the color. Okay, taken by the food will be the green one, so this and this, and then I'm gonna use a red one for the water. Okay, this, and this. Okay, let's start with A, right? A, probably it is the leaf because the food is coming out of it and the water is going into it. Okay, it shouldn't be the root because if it is the root, then water will be going out of it. Okay, then C should be the root in this case, okay, because the path taken by the water is going out. Okay, is there any... It's not gonna be the stem, so which means that option 4 is out. It's not gonna be the flower because okay, part D is most likely either the flower or the fruit, right? The fruit or the flower. Okay, but option 4 is already out, so most likely option 1 is the answer, okay, because B is most likely the stem that is in the middle that transports, you know, that connects all the parts together. Okay, so in this question 7, the answer is number 1. Okay, question 8. The chart shows how substances are transported in the human body. The arrow represents the directions of how different substances are transported from one system to another. Okay, so there's a system Y and system X, and there is substances V and W. Okay, which of the following correctly identifies a substance V and W and system X and Y? Okay, so This is the digestive system, right? So if this is the digestive system, that means the one that's coming out of W will probably be digested food, right? Okay, digested food. So which means that we can eliminate 1 and 2. I'm not gonna look at 1 and 2 anymore. Okay, which means that system Y is probably the respiratory system. Oh, sorry, the circulatory system. Okay, system X is probably the respiratory system, and then V that is coming out of it will be the oxygen. Okay, so for this question, the answer will be number 4. Question 9, the diagram shows a flow chart describing 3 types of cells, P, Q, and R. Okay, does it have a nucleus? Yes. Does it have a chloroplast? Yes. That is for P, Q, and R. Okay, which of the following best represents where cells P, Q, and R can be found? Okay, let's start with P. Does it have chloroplast? Yes, it's probably the leaf. Okay, probably not the stem. Let's take a look at Q. Does it no chloroplast? Okay, no chloroplast. That means it may be the root, the flower, the skin. Okay. For R. Oh, okay. Hold on. For Q, does it have cell wall? It has a cell wall, so cannot be skin of human. Okay, no cell wall, so no cell wall will be skin, and okay, we have the answer, which is option number 1. Just double confirm. Okay, no chloroplast, cell wall, yep, and then no chloroplast and no cell wall, human skin are. Okay, question 10. William recorded the number of organisms he saw on a tree in the table below. Okay, based on the table, which of the following statements is correct? Okay, let's check the statement one by one. Okay, there are 6 communities living on the tree. This one is probably wrong, because a community is like a place where different populations of animals live together. Okay, there are 5 communities. This is also wrong. Okay, there are 6 populations of organisms living on a tree. Let's check how many populations are there. Bird is 1, ant is 2, butterfly is 3, F5 is 4. Okay, caterpillar belongs to the young of the butterfly, so it's also under number 3. And then fern will be number 5, right? Okay, so there are only 5 populations, which means that the answer will be number 4. Question 11, the diagram represents a food web in a farm. Okay, the farmer noticed that although the number of rice plants were the same as the previous year, there was an increase in the mass of rice he harvested. Okay, which of the following is a possible cause for the increase in the mass of rice harvested? Okay, so if you want the mass of the rice harvested to increase, right? We probably want the rat and the bird to decrease, and the only way to decrease it is probably we want to increase the predators or introduce some other form of predators. So let's check the options. Number 1, an increase in the population of the rats, wrong, because that would decrease the rice. Decrease in the population of fox, also no. Okay, because if the population of the fox decrease, then the rat and the bird will increase. Increase in the population of the birds is wrong, that means it's only the last one. Okay, an increase in the population of the snake will cause the rat and the bird to decrease. So the answer is number 4. Okay, question 12. The diagram shows the water lily plant in a pond. Okay, the broad waxy leaf of the water lily plant floats on the surface of the water and carries out gaseous exchange with the surrounding atmosphere. Which one of the following is incorrect? Okay, the broad leaf helps to trap more light. Yep, correct. The thin leaf stalk helps traps air and helps it float. Probably wrong. Waxy leaf prevents water from weighing down. Yup, because water will glide off it. Okay, the stomata on the upper surface of the leaf allows gaseous exchange with the surrounding air. Yup, so the answer will be number 2, which is the incorrect one. Okay, question 13. Dave conducted an experiment using a setup shown below. He switched on the lamp and observed that the position of the water level in the glass tube changed after some time. Okay, which direction did the water level in the glass tube move, and what was the reason for the movement? Okay, so in this case, because the water plant will carry out photosynthesis, right? Okay, so it will produce air bubble which will float up and it will be trapped down here. Okay, so there will be a air space down here and it will cause the water to be pushed into the tube, right? And it will cause the water level to rise up. Okay, so which means that the water level will rise up. Okay, the reason is because oxygen is being produced. So the answer is option 2. Okay, question 14. Study the containers A, B, C, and D in the diagrams. Okay, which container has the largest mass? Okay, so we're gonna start from let's see. Here, the first option is telling me that A is heavier than B, right? Okay, so erase this. Let's write down A is heavier than B. Okay, so the second one, okay, let's take a look at this one over here. Okay, this one is telling me that C is heavier than A. Okay, and then over here is telling me that D is heavier than C. So that means option D will be somewhere here and it will be heavier than C, right? Let's check the last one. D is heavier than B, which is so correct. Okay, so this is the heaviest. This is the lightest. Okay, so the answer should be number 4, which is D. D is the heaviest or the largest mass. Question 15. Study the table below that indicates the state of substances X, Y, and Z at certain temperatures. Okay, so X, Y, and Z. X will be a liquid at 30 and 60, and then it changes into gas at 100 degrees Celsius. Y will be liquid at 30 and a gas at 60 and above. Z will be solid all the way. Okay, based on the information above, which of the following statements is correct? Okay, substance X has the highest boiling point. Substance Z has the highest melting point. Okay, so I'm gonna write down the boiling point over here. Okay, for X, boiling point is the temperature where it changes from liquid to gas, right? So it'll be here, boiling point. For Y, it will be here. Boiling point. Okay, and then for Z, the boiling point is way higher than 100, so I do not know what is it. Okay, so the statement 1 is wrong because Z has the highest. Okay, substance Z has the highest melting point. Okay, in this case, let's check the melting point. Okay, melting point is when the substance changes from solid to liquid, right? So for X, the melting point is lower than 30. Okay, Y is also lower than 30. And for Z, the melting point is also higher than 100. Okay, so in this case, yes, Z indeed has the highest melting point, but let's continue to check option 3. Substance X has the same melting point as Y. We do not know what is the exact melting point. Substance Y has a higher melting point than Z. No, because Z has the highest melting point. Okay, so the answer for this question will be number 2. Question 16. David poured the same amount of water on 3 identical towers, J, K, and L. He then hung the towers at 3 different locations in the garden. He recorded the mass of each tower at the start of the experiment and after 2 hours in the table below. And after 2 hours in the table below, okay, so these are the results. Okay, at the beginning they're all the same, and then 2 hours later they are different. Okay, based on the results, under which conditions was tower J hung? So tower J, you can see that it's got the lowest mass after 2 hours, right? So probably it is a sunny and windy place. Okay, because sunny and windy place will help to increase the rate of evaporation. Question 17. Ever set up an experiment as shown in the diagram? Okay, glass cover, there's ice on top, and then this is water at 90 degrees Celsius, so it's a fairly hot water. Okay, after a while, he noticed that some water droplets had formed. At which 2 parts A, B, C, or D did the water droplets form? Okay, if it is a hot water like this, okay, so there's a high chance that the water droplets will form at B and C. Okay, in the inner part. If it is a cold water, then water droplets will form on the outer surface of the container. Okay, so number 3 is the answer. Question 18. Leonard set up 4 different circuits using identical bulbs and batteries as shown. Okay, all the electrical components are in working condition. So in which circuit will bulb B, okay, be the dimmest? They want it to be the dimmest, right? So bulb B is this, and this one over here, and this. Okay, in this question, the one that will be the dimmest will be option number 2. Because these are all connected in series, right? Okay, so if you recall, you connect the bulbs in series, they will become dimmer. Okay, if you connect the bulbs in parallel, they'll become brighter. Okay, so this will be option 4 is actually the brightest one. Okay, so if they want the dimmers, the option will be number 2, the one that is connected in series. Okay, question 19. Bulbs A, B, C, and D were connected in a circuit hidden in a wooden box as shown, okay, below. All the bulbs lit up when the circuit was closed. Larry removed 1 bulb from the circuit each time and observed what happened to the remaining bulbs. His observations were recorded in the table below. Okay, so when A is removed, BCD will remain lit. B is removed, ACD will remain lit. C is removed, ABD will remain lit. And when D is removed, only B remains lit. Okay, so which of the following correctly shows the circuit hidden in the wooden box? We're gonna check through the options and try to eliminate some of them. Okay, when A is removed, all of them will light up. Okay, so in this case, when A is removed, B will not light up, so option 1 is out. Option 2, when A is removed, all the light bulbs will not light up, so option 2 is also out. Okay, let's check 3 and 4. When A is removed, okay, the rest will continue to light up. Option 4, when A is removed, the rest will continue to light up. Okay, let's go to B. When B is removed, yes, the rest will light up. Okay, when B is removed, yes, the rest will light up. Let's check for C. When C is removed, okay, so ABD will light up. In this case, when C is removed, D will not light up. Okay, so we know that option 4 is also out, and we're left with option 3. Let's check the last one. When D is removed, yeah, okay, B and C will not light up, so only B will light up. Okay, question 20. Max made a toy as shown below. So this is the toy where we have a matchbox with like ice cream sticks attached to it, and you have a roller and rubber band where you twist, and then the roller will turn. Okay, when Max turned the roller 10 times and placed the toy on the table, the toy moved forward. He replaced the box with an identical box of 50 grams, that means something that is lighter, and repeated his experiment. He noticed that the toy moved further. Okay, which of the following explains why the toy was able to move a further distance in the second experiment? There is less air resistance acting on the toy. Probably not. Okay, there is less frictional force acting on the toy. Yes, because it is lighter. More gravitational force? No, gravitational force is always the same. There is more elastic spring force? No, because he repeated the experiment with the identical number of times twisted. Okay, so the answer will be number 2. Okay, question 21. Alan placed 2 identical blocks on his desk. Okay, he exerted forces F1, F2 on block A at the same time, and forces F3, F4 on block B at the same time. Okay, which of the following will result in block A remaining at position X? Okay, so block A will remain at position X while block B will move to position Y. Okay, if you want block A to remain, that means the forces must be the same, right? So option 1 and 2, they are out. And if you want block B to move to position Y, you would want F3 to be more than F4. Okay, so the answer is number 4. Question 22. Which of the following 2 activities contribute to an increase in the amount of carbon dioxide in the air? Okay, using a bicycle to get around, this one does not increase. Okay, using reusable bag when shopping, this one also does not. Okay, clearing forest area to make factories, yes, this one does because it's a deforestation. Burning trash instead of dumping them into landfills, yeah, burning will always produce carbon dioxide. Okay, so the answer should be C and D, which is number 4. Okay, 4 bar magnets with their ends marked A to H are arranged as shown. Okay, which of the following diagrams shows a possible arrangement using 3 of the magnets? Okay, so in this case, it'll be easier if we try to assign some poles to it. Okay, I'm gonna let this be north, south. So this will be north, this will be south, north, south, and this will be north, and this will be south. Okay, let us check the points where it is in contact. B and F must be alike poles, right? But B and F are both south-south. Okay, so number 1 is out. Let's check H and D. H is south and D is south, so number 2 is also out. Option 3, let's check on C and F. Okay, C is north, F is south. Okay, let's check on A and D. A is north and D is south. Okay, so option 3 is the correct one. Okay, BD, let us check BD. B is south and D is south. Okay, so option 4 is also out. Okay, so the correct answer is number 3. Question 24. In the scrapyard, electromagnets are used to separate objects. Okay, which of the following explains why they are used? Electromagnets have only one pole? No. Electromagnets can repel non-magnetic objects? No. You want to attract them to pick them up. Electromagnets are able to attract magnetic objects? Yes, probably. Okay, electromagnets are strong and made of a strong metal. This is not the reason. Okay, so option 3 will be the answer. Question 25. 4 objects A, B, C, D are separately placed from a distance at 1 meter from a lead torch as shown in the diagram. Okay, which of the following objects can reflect light from the torch into the eye? Okay, brown wood, yep. Polished mirror, yes. Shiny metal, yes. Okay, even clear glass can reflect light into our eyes, but just that it is not a lot of light. Okay, because if something cannot reflect light into your eyes, then you will not see it. Okay, and we definitely can see glass. Okay, but sometimes maybe you cannot see it properly and you might walk into one. Question 26. Okay, 3 identical cups P, Q, and R were filled with water at different temperatures and left at room temperature of 30 degrees Celsius as shown. In the graph below shows the temperatures of the water in each cup at the start of the experiment. Okay, so it will be 30, 60, and 10. Okay, the temperatures of the water were taken again at the end of 10 minutes. Which of the graphs shows the most likely temperature of the water in each cup at the end of 10 minutes? Okay, none of the graphs shows that they reach a room temperature, right? So we're gonna find the next closest answer, which is... Okay, let's start off with cup R because the cup R is 10 degrees Celsius. So 10 minutes later, probably the temperature will be higher, right? Which means that it's only these two. So option 3 and 2, they are out. Let's take a look at cup Q, right? Because if it is 60 degrees Celsius and because the surrounding temperature is 30, so it will probably drop. Okay, that means option 4 is also out. The answer will be number 1. Okay, question 27. 4 different containers of the same volume were filled with equal amount of hot water and allowed to cool to room temperature. Okay, the graph below shows the results. Based on the information above, which container A, B, C, or D is the poorest conductor of heat? Poorest conductor of heat will allow the temperature to drop at a slower pace, right? Okay, so D is probably the one that is the poorest conductor of heat because it took the longest time to reach the room temperature. Okay, question 28. The ball as shown in the diagram rolls down from point A. Okay, it rolls past point B and C, and then finally it stops at D. Okay, which of the following graphs shows the changes in the amount of gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy? Okay, gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy of the ball from A to D. So we know that the gravitational potential energy will definitely decrease, right? And then the kinetic energy will definitely increase. Okay, so I will just start to eliminate first. Number 3 is definitely out because it shows that the gravitational potential energy is increasing. And kinetic energy will increase. So kinetic energy, they are all increasing. Okay, so we got to look at okay, part C, because it's already on the ground, right? Okay, so in this case, the potential energy will be equal to 0. Okay, in fact, part C to D, the potential energy should be 0. Okay, so for number 1 is also out because C, the potential energy is not 0. And option 2 is also out because from C to D, it is showing that the potential energy is increasing. Okay, but from C to D, it doesn't move higher. Okay, so from C to D, the potential energy should be a flat line. Okay, and then for C to D, the kinetic energy should be decreasing because it will be decreasing. So the answer is number 4. Okay, we're gonna move on to paper 2, question 29. Ranjit wanted to investigate the factors that affect the digestion of food in the human digestive system. He conducted an experiment to find out if the size of food affected how fast the food was being digested. He cut up pieces of the same food and placed them in 3 beakers of digestive juices as shown. The food in each beaker was the same total mass. Okay, so there's a digestive juice, and then there are like food pieces inside the beaker. They are all of the same mass. Okay, after 2 hours, Ranjit measured the mass of the food pieces left in each beaker and recorded the results in the table as shown. Okay, so beaker X, Y, and Z, at the start of the experiment, the mass is all the same. At the end, the mass is different, right? Okay. For part 1, explain why the mass of the food pieces in all the 3 beakers decrease. Okay, so the reason why the mass of all the food pieces in the 3 beakers decrease because they are all exposed to digestive juice. Okay, and then the digestive juice will break down the food into smaller pieces. Explain why the mass of the food pieces in all. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the mass, okay, of the food pieces, okay, in all the 3 beakers, okay, are okay, soaked in digestive juice, okay, which will break down. Okay, maybe it'll be easier to say which will digest, okay, the food into smaller pieces. Okay, be careful not to say it will digest the food into simpler substances because simpler substances means it will break down the food into some other stuff. Okay, based on the results, explain how chewing food well before swallowing can help food to be digested faster. Okay, based on the results. Okay, when the food pieces are cut into smaller pieces, Okay, the mass of the food pieces, okay, left at the end is lesser. Okay, hence doing food well, okay, before swallowing can help food to be digested faster. Okay, before it can help food to be digested faster. Okay, part B. Ranjit found out that a type of surgery can reduce the size of the stomach and shortens the length of the small intestine. Okay, so before surgery, this is everything is normal. Okay, after surgery, they will reduce the size of the stomach and the length of the small intestine will also be shortened. Okay, based on the diagram, explain how the digestion of food in the stomach and small intestine will be affected immediately after the surgery. Okay, so in the stomach, the digestion of the food will be slower as there is like lesser surface area for the digested food to move around. Okay, so in this case, explain how the digestion of food in the stomach and the small intestine will be affected. Okay, the digestion in the stomach, okay, will be slower. Okay, due to the reduced surface area. Okay, so for the small intestine is also the same. The digestion in the small intestine it will be slower. So I realize over here there is a mistake. Okay, as the food will have lesser time spent in the small intestine. Okay, question 30. The diagram shows the respiratory system of a fish. Fishes absorb dissolved oxygen from the water as the water passes through the gills. Okay, so how does having many tiny hair-like structures help the fish get more dissolved oxygen? Okay, so what the tiny hair-like structures do is they help to increase the exposed surface area in contact with the water, so that this will help them to trap more dissolved oxygen. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the many tiny hair-like structures, okay, help to increase the maybe I just say increase the surface area of the gills in contact with water to trap more dissolved oxygen. The diagram below shows the human respiratory system. How does the oxygen in the environment reach the blood vessels of the air sacs? Okay, so the oxygen in the environment, where does it first enter? It will enter the body through the nose, and travel down the windpipe to reach the air sacs in the lungs. Okay, so for part C, based on the diagrams, describe one similarity between the structure of the gills and the lungs. Okay, so we can see that one similarity between the structures of the gills and the lungs is that there is a large number of blood vessels that surround the gills, and there's a large number of blood vessels that surrounds the air sac also. Okay, so based on the diagrams, both the gills and lungs have a large number of blood vessels number of surrounding them. Okay, surrounding them. Okay, question 31A. What is the difference between heat and temperature? Okay, heat is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy. Okay, while temperature is a measurement of how much heat energy two similar containers A and B It was heated and the temperature of air in each container was taken over a period of time. Container B was covered with a thick layer of cotton, okay, with pockets of air. Okay, so we have container A, container B. The only difference is container B is covered with a thick layer of cotton with pockets of air. Okay, the graph shows the results of the experiment. So we can see that the temperature of B is increasing faster than the temperature of container A. Okay, based on the results of the experiment, describe the difference in the temperature of air between container A and B as they were heated. Okay, based on the results, the temperature of the air in D is higher than the temperature of the air in A. Okay, B part 2. How does the cotton wool result in the difference between the temperatures of air in both containers as they were being heated? Okay, so what happens is over here you need to talk about okay, the cotton wool with the pockets of air, and because air is a bad conductor of heat, okay, so you prevent container B from losing heat. Okay, so for B part 2, how does the cotton wool result in the difference as the cotton wool contains pockets of air, and air is a bad conductor of heat. Okay, so this will reduce the heat loss in B full stop, hence temperature of air B is higher, okay, than A. Okay, part C, what was done at time X to cause a change in the temperature of air in both the containers? So we can see that at time X, right? Okay, the temperature of both the containers will start to decrease. So in this case, it's probably due to like the Bunsen burner is being switched off. Okay, the Bunsen burners were turn off. Okay, look at the picture of the animal below. So you can see that this animal has got a like thick long fur. Okay, so the animal has thick long fur. Based on the results of the experiment, explain how the thick long fur keeps the animal warm in cold environments. Okay, so in this case, we gotta say that the thick long fur wraps many pockets. Okay, stop. Since based on the results of the experiment, explain how the since the temperature of container B was higher due to the cotton wool okay, hence the fur of the animal can help to keep it warm. Okay, question 32. Ian conducted an experiment to find out how temperature changes with the depth of soil using the setup shown. Okay, after the lamp had been turned on for 1 hour, Ian recorded the temperature of the soil in the graph. Okay, A, B, C, and D are different depths below the soil surface, and X is the soil surface. Okay, we can see the A, B, C, D over here, and the ABCD over here. So we can see that the temperature is decreasing, right? Okay, based on the results, state the relationship between the depth below the soil surface and temperature of the soil. Okay, so as the depth below the soil surface increase, okay, the temperature of the soil decreases. Okay, animal R lives in the desert, which is hot and dry. It stays in an underground tunnel during the day. Okay, based on Ian's experiment, explain how staying underground during the day helps animal R survive in its environment. Okay, based on Ian's experiment, okay, the deeper underground, okay, the lower the temperature. Okay, hence okay, staying underground during the day helps to keep animal are cool. Okay, but C, based only on the diagram of animal R, state a structural adaptation. Okay, it has that enables it to dig a tunnel in the soil. So we can see that animal R has got sharp claws, right? So probably that is a structural adaptation that allows, that helps it to dig a tunnel underground. Okay, so based on the diagram, okay, animal R have sharp claws, okay, which can or which enables it to dig a tunnel in the soil. Okay, question 33. An experiment was conducted to compare the flexibility of two different types of wood, K and L. Wood K was placed on two identical supports that were positioned 50 cm apart. Different numbers of 10-gram weights were placed on wood K, and the distance X over here was measured as shown. The experiment was repeated with wood L of the same size, and the results were recorded in the table below. Based on the results, which wood K or L is less flexible? Okay, explain your answer. So if you look at the results, wood L broke over here, so which suggests that wood L is probably the one that is less flexible, because wood K continued to bend even with like 4 to 5, 10, 100-gram weight. Okay, so wood L is less flexible. Okay, as it broke when yeah, I'm gonna write 400 grams, okay, of weight is placed on it while wood K continue to bend without breaking. Okay, for part B, name one other variable that must be kept constant for a fair experiment. So it says other variable. Let's read through to see what kind of variables were provided in the question. Two identical supports that positioned 50 cm apart, different numbers of 10, 100-gram weights were placed on wood K. Okay, so probably they did not mention the thickness of the wood, right? Okay, so I'm gonna say the thickness of wood K and L. In another experiment, wood L was placed on two different springs of equal size P and Q, okay, that were positioned 50 cm apart. Some 100-gram weights were placed on wood L and caused wood L to tilt unevenly as shown. Okay, based on the above observations only, okay, why did wood L tilt unevenly? Okay, so this is probably because the two springs, they have different stiffness. Spring P probably is more stiff than spring Q, which explains why they are compressed in an uneven way. Okay, so we can say that spring Q is less stiff than spring P. Okay. Okay, question 34. Ivan wanted to investigate the properties of air. He filled a cup with water and inverted it into a container of water as shown. Okay, so you have a cup that is inverted, the water level is over here, and there's a straw. Okay, what will happen to the water level in the cup, okay, when air is blown into the cup through the straw? Explain your answer. Okay, so we know that the water level will decrease, right? Because as you blow air into the cup, because air can take up space, so the air space over here is going to increase and it's going to push down the water level. Okay, so the water level in the cup it will decrease. Since air, okay, since air takes up space, so when air is blown into the cup, okay, it will take up more space and push the water level down. Okay, the next question. Ivan then carried out another experiment. He used a 200 cubic cm glass cylinder that was filled with air and was connected to a pump which contains 50 cubic cm of air. He used a valve, okay, which prevented the air in the glass cylinder, which is this thing, okay, from flowing back into the pump as shown. Okay, 50 cubic cm of air went into the glass cylinder when the plunger was pushed all the way into the pump. Okay, the plunger was pushed all the way once. What's the volume of air in the glass cylinder, and explain why? Okay, in this case, the volume of air in the glass cylinder will still be 200 cubic cm. Okay, the reason is because air can be compressed and air does not have a definite volume. Okay, what is the volume of air in the glass cylinder? The volume in the glass cylinder is 200 cubic cm. Okay, air can be compressed. And does not have a definite volume. Okay, so part C. Will the mass of air in the glass cylinder increase, decrease, or remain the same? Explain your answer based on the property of air. Okay, in this case, the mass of air will definitely increase. Okay, as air is a matter, and as mass. Okay, question 35. The diagram shows the water cycle X, Y, and Z. Okay, X, Y, and Z represent the different parts of the water cycle. So X is over here, Z is here, and Y is here. Okay, why is the sun important in the water cycle? It's because the sun provides heat energy for the water to evaporate. Okay, in order for the water cycle to keep like cycling. Okay, cycling. Okay, so why is the sun important in the water cycle? The sun provides heat energy to allow the water bodies to evaporate. Okay, part B, complete the following with X, Y, or Z. Condensation is, in this case, it's something to something. I'm gonna put it as evaporation is definitely Y to Z. Okay, condensation will be from Z to X. Okay, describe what will happen to the water cycle if condensation did not take place. Okay, so if condensation does not take place, it did not take place, clouds will not form. Okay, and there won't be any rainfall. Okay, question 36. Study the circuit shown in the diagram carefully. The iron ball was resting on two iron contacts. Okay, so the iron ball over here resting on two iron contacts. Okay, what could be observed on the circuit when only switch S1 was closed? Okay, so if switch S1 was closed, we can observe that the light bulb will light up. Okay, we can observe that the light bulb will light up. Okay, do we need to explain? No. Okay, when both switches S1 and S2 were closed, the iron ball moved repeatedly from A to B and back to A. Explain why the iron ball moved up and down repeatedly. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with when both switches S1 and S2 were closed. Okay, a closed circuit is formed. Okay, and electric current will flow through the wires Okay, and magnetizing magnetizing the iron rod and attracting the iron ball. Okay, so okay, I've already explained why it moved up, so now I'm gonna explain why it's gonna move down. Okay, so in this case, okay, this will cause an open circuit. Okay, to form at the iron contacts. Okay, causing the iron rod to demagnetize. Okay, causing the iron rod to demagnetize. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, and the iron ball will drop back. Okay, to repeat everything. Okay, part C, what happened to the light bulb when both switches S1 and S2 were closed? Okay, so when the iron ball moves up and down repeatedly between A and B, okay, we can see that there will also be a open and closed circuit repeatedly, right? Okay, so this will cause the light bulb to continuously blink or flicker. Okay, so the bulb will flicker continuously. Okay, question 27. Gabriel wanted to use his phone. Okay, what forces, push, pull, or both did he apply when he unplugged the wire? Okay, so if you want to unplug the wire, you got to apply a pulling force. Switch on the phone, that means you need to press onto the on button, right? So you need to apply a pushing force. Okay, Gabriel pasted a layer of clear plastic on his phone screen. However, there was an air bubble trapped under the clear plastic as shown in diagram 1. Okay, diagram 2 shows what happened to the air bubble when he pressed it. Okay, what is the effect of force on the bubble? Okay, so in this case, we can see that a force changed the shape of the bubble, right? Okay, so in this case, okay, the force changed the shape of the bubble. Okay, part C. Gabriel noticed that the bubble had increased in size when he was outdoors on a hot day. Okay, explain why this is so. Okay, because on a hot day, the air trapped under the clear plastic sheet will expand, and this will cause the bubble to increase in size. Okay, so the air in the bubble, it will gain heat and expand. Okay, a comma increasing in size. Okay, question 38. Okay, sometimes rain mixes with pollutants in the air to form acid rain. David wants to investigate the effects of acid rain on stone X. Okay, he collected 4 beakers of rainwater from 4 different locations, P, Q, R, and S. He added an identical piece of stone X to each beaker of rainwater and recorded its mass after a month. Okay, the graph shows the results. Okay, so this is the original mass of the stone, and we can see that the mass of the stones reduced. Okay, so David used the same volume of rainwater for each of his setups. How does this ensure a fair test? Okay, so for this question, okay, this is to ensure that okay, only the okay, collected 4 beakers of rainwater. Okay, this is to ensure that only different types of rainwater it will affect the mass of the stone, comma, okay, and not the volume of rainwater. Okay, so for part B, based on the results, which location P, Q, R, or S will be the most suitable to display a statue made of stone X? Okay, and explain why. So we can see that the stone at location R, okay, the stone that is soaked in the beaker with the rainwater from location R decreased the least, right? Okay, so which means that the rainwater from location R contains the least amount of acid. Okay, and so that will be the most suitable place to display the statue, so that the statue will not get corroded and it will not like melt away. Okay, based on the results, okay, location R is the most suitable. Okay, as the mass of was it stone X? Okay, the mass of stone X reduced the least. Okay, so for part C, state 2 other negative effects of acid rain. Okay, so acid rain can, one of the negative effects is acid rain can cause water pollution. Okay, or it can contaminate, okay, water bodies. Okay, and it can cause plants, okay, to grow poorly. Okay, because plants do not grow well on acidic soil. Okay, question 39. Herman set up an experiment as shown. He moved the steel ball slowly from the 10 cm mark, okay, along the ruler towards magnet W. He recorded the distance d at the point where the magnet attracted the steel ball. He repeated the experiment using magnets x, y, and z. The table shows the results for all the 4 magnets W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, why did the steel ball get attracted to the magnet? Okay, so in this case it is because, okay, steel is a magnetic material. Okay, part B, based on the result of his experiment, arrange the magnets according to their strength from the strongest to the weakest. Okay, so in this case, the one with the longest distance will be the strongest, right? Because a strong magnet can attract or can pull in the steel ball from longest distance. Okay, so X will be the strongest, followed by W, followed by Z, and followed by Y. Okay, Y is the weakest. Okay, but C, in the table, take the variables that Herman must keep the same to ensure a fair test. Okay, magnets of different sizes, they cannot be different sizes, should be the same size. Same steel ball for each experiment, yes. Okay, magnets of same magnetic strength, no. Part D, Herman replaced a magnet Y with a bigger sized magnet. It attracted the steel ball from a distance of 3 cm. Okay, what can you conclude about the magnetic strength and size of magnet? So replace a magnet Y, right, this one with, okay, a bigger size magnet, and then the distance is still 3 cm, right? It's the same, right? So no changes. Okay, so what can you conclude about the magnetic strength and size of magnet? Okay, the magnetic strength, okay, and size of the magnet are basically not related. And size of magnet, okay, does not. Oh, okay. I think let me rephrase this answer in another way. The size of the magnet does not affect the magnetic strength. it does not affect the magnetic strength. Okay, part E, Herman dropped a magnet X several times and tested it again. Will magnet X attract the steel ball from a distance of 8 cm, more than 8 cm or less than 8 cm? Okay, explain your answer. So magnet X is over here, right? So at first it is 8 cm. Okay, when you drop it several times, it will cause the magnetic strength of it to decrease, right? So if it decreases, that means the distance will become shorter, right? Okay, so the distance will become less than 8 cm. Okay, magnet X will attract the steel ball from a distance of less than 8 cm. The strength of the magnet it will decrease when dropped. Okay, question 40. Eddie used the setup as shown to find out the time taken for a bob to make one complete swing. The bob makes one complete swing when it moves from A to C and then back to A. Okay, fill in the two empty boxes below to show the energy conversion as the bob swings from A to C. Okay, energy of the bob at A is gravitational potential energy over here. Okay, at B it'll be kinetic energy. Okay, and then at C you will go back to gravitational potential energy, okay, because it is swinging upwards. Okay, Eddie conducted 4 experiments. He did not change the size of the bobs and type of strings. Okay, his results are shown in the table below. Experiment W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, the mass of the bobs are changing except for the last two. Length of the strings are changing except for W and Y. Okay, and then the time taken to complete one swing is also different except for W and Y. If Eddie wanted to find out how the length of string would affect the time taken for one complete swing, which two experiments should he use to make a conclusion? So if he wants to find out how the length of the string, so this will be the change variable, right? It would affect the time taken, so the time taken will be the measured variable. So we have to find length of string, which is different, and then the mass of the bob will be the same, right? Okay, in this case there's only Y and Z which have the same mass of the bob. Okay, so these two are changed and the measured variable is also different. Okay, so it'll be experiment Y and Z. Okay, based on experiment W and Y, which is this one, W and Y, okay, what can Eddie conclude? So W and Y, this is the constant variable, right? The length of the string, and you can see that the mass of the bob is changed. Okay, but the time taken for one complete swing remains the same. Okay, so in this case, we can tell that the mass of the bob does not affect the time taken for one complete swing to take place. Okay, so based on experiments, W and Y, comma. So Eddie can conclude that a mass of Bob, it does not affect the time taken for one complete swing. Okay, so we have come to the end of the paper. Okay, as always, if you have any question, you can always leave me a comment or send me a message through my Facebook page or WhatsApp number. So if you're looking for any science tuition in the Punggol area, feel free to contact me, and I will see you all in the next paper.